Alright guys, I'm finally doing my winter fragrances videos. I'm a little behind this year. Normally I do them late November into early December, but we're doing them in January this year. Just been really busy with a lot going on and other videos for you guys. But finally, this is a men's designer list, a top 21 list, and next Saturday we'll have the niche list. But find out about my favorite men's designer fragrances for winter 2020 for 2025 coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Sebastian talking to you about men's designer fragrances. Let me know if you have a favorite men's designer fragrance you wear during the winter months. Add a comment below, but let's get started with the list. Going to the house of Brioni, which I'm a fan of, but sadly this latest one is not my favorite. It's not my favorite, so it's turning out to be my least favorite, unfortunately. But I wanted to highlight it here for you guys to see and hear about this fragrance. Perhaps you might end up liking it more than I am. But it's Eau de Parfum Suave from the house of Brioni, and it features leather. It's a leather fragrance with amber, cardamom, vetiver, sandalwood, mandarin, and pink pepper. So in the end, it's an ambery leather fragrance with lots of spices and also woods here, slightly animalic, and it does sweeten up a little bit with the mandarin orange. But for some strange reason, I'm not really fully embracing this fragrance yet. That's why I'm ranking it here. Who knows, down the line I might enjoy it a lot more, but for now it's at 21, Brioni Eau de Parfum Suave. The next fragrance also I'm not fully embracing yet, but I wanted to highlight it here because it's brand new. I just bought it from Nordstrom's from the house of Tom Ford. This might still be exclusive at Nordstrom's, I don't know 100%, but this is Bois Pacifique. And this is a cardamom bomb for me. The more I wear it, the more soapy it gets. And I got a soapy effect with this one, and I feel like it's coming from the cardamom, but it also has saffron, Akigalawood, frankincense, turmeric, cedar, orris, oak, sandalwood, amber, vanilla. It's an overdose of woods with amber, some sweetness in the base, but lots of spices and dry. And for me, I get that major soapiness, and most likely it's coming from the cardamom note. So that's Bois Pacifique. I wish it was a little more exciting. It's not so exciting for me. But moving on to the house of Mugler, it's Amen Phantasm. Amen Phantasm is a great smelling fragrance with chocolate or dark chocolate and patchouli, but it just doesn't have that oomph that I wanted from fragrances. I'm ranking it lower here, but I feel like this could use a little more intensification, but sadly we have this for now, and I'm hoping they come out with a Parfum edition of this, but who knows. I don't know what L'Oreal and Mugler are doing with fragrances, but in the end it's a great smelling fragrance, and I think it definitely deserves to be on a list, but use caution. And if you're someone that likes fragrances that are not into overwhelming fragrances, this might be just perfect for you. And I like this because it's unique. It doesn't smell like a lot of other men's fragrances. It's patchouli, it's dark chocolate, it's aromatics and citruses together. Smells fantastic. Amen Phantasm is at number 19. Next, going to the house of Montblanc from their sort of luxury collection of 4 fragrances. This is Extreme Leather. This is turning out to be my favorite of the collection. I really like this fragrance. It's a leather fragrance. It's called Extreme Leather, but it has a lot of musk and orris. So both the musk and the orris make the leather very powdery, giving it a very suede-like effect. And it smells really, really great. Once again, I think this is a fragrance you can wear all year round, just like the Amen Phantasm. But this Montblanc is a little more intense to me than the Amen. So I think use caution maybe if it's warm outside, but right now we're talking about winter, and I think it would make a great men's designer fragrance for winter. So this is Extreme Leather from the house of Montblanc. Let me know if you've sampled these fragrances so far. Add a comment below so I can find out. And then up next, going to the house of Trussardi, it's Primo, this one right here. So Primo I felt like was a very unique fragrance, but once again, it's not one of those most oomph intense fragrances, but I like the unique smell, and that's why I'm featuring it here at number 17. I think this is more of a autumn appropriate fragrance, but in the winter time you can kind of intensify it further with more sprays, or again, if you like the way the fragrance smells and you don't mind less more intense fragrances, then wear this fragrance. But it's a very unique combination of notes. Like, it has lava mineral accord, it has maple syrup, has pimento, tonka, patchouli, sandalwood, geranium, cedarwood, grapefruit. So it's a bit sweet and syrupy and also minerally, so it acts very interesting and very unique, like something that Mugler would put out. And it's a great fragrance for you guys to try. It's definitely got the warm, spicy effect, but lots of ambery touches. And of course, as I said, it has that maple syrup, so it sweetens things up. It's a great release from this house. I hope they continue with it. Maybe they'll make a parfum or an elixir or an absolute or something. But for now, do check this one out. I think it's a great fragrance from that house. Then going to the house of MAUBOUSSIN at 16. It's Star for Men. I hope they have some of this out there selling again at the discounted prices, because it's a really great release from MAUBOUSSIN. I really love this house and their fragrances. Even on my first channel, I had a great MAUBOUSSIN fragrance that I was recommending, and everybody was loving it. Sadly, that's discontinued and gone, but this one's still out there, hopefully at the discounters. It's amber, tonka, saffron, incense, vanilla, cardamom, cedar, orris, papyrus, patchouli, black pepper. It acts a bit like Leighton. It's a bit spicy, woody, and vanillic. Definitely perfect fragrance from a designer to wear in the winter time or all year round. It's MAUBOUSSIN Star for Men. Let me know if you're familiar with that one. But next, going to the house of GUERLAIN, it's L'Homme Idéal Parfum. I am, kind of warming up to this one, even though I find it to be the weakest out of the parfums. I really love the patchouli in this, and it smells fantastic. The first time I noticed the patchouli in this L'Homme Idéal collection was their Sport. It was really potent, and I feel like it's also potent here as well. But this has notes of amaretto liquor, leather, patchouli, musky notes, and I love that whole boozy patchouli combo, reminding me a little bit of Bentley for Men Intense, but totally different. It's just a really, really fantastic fragrance. Just wish it was a little stronger, but I'll take what they have given us because it smells really, really great. So this is L'Homme Idéal Parfum. Let me know if you're familiar with that. There's a whole video on a lot of these fragrances. Please go catch them. You'll learn a lot more for each of the fragrances in case you want to learn. Next, going to the house of Lalique is Encre Indigo. This is vetiver, black tea, juniper berry, pink pepper, saffron, patchouli, bergamot, and ambergris. Basically, they've taken the vetiver into a tea direction, and it's got this very warm and cozy, spicy effect happening here. Still aromatic, still citrusy, but also has some depth in the dry down, like ambery touches and woody touches with patchouli. We'll see how many they launch in this collection, but I think Annick Menardo, who created this, did a fantastic job with this fragrance. It smells really, really great. It's got this kind of energetic vibe, but also calming and soothing at the same time. So that's Encre Indigo from the house of Lalique. Let me know if you're familiar with that one. Those of you that know me know that I'm not a fan of this collection, and this is, I'm shocking that I'm putting it here, but I recently discovered this one, and it's actually really, really great. This is from the house of Rabanne or Paco Rabanne. This is Invictus Victory Elixir. Do you guys know this one? I can't believe how good it is, and I'm not a fan of the whole aquatic marine thing in the original Invictus, but this is Invictus Victory, so it's a different collection most likely. But I sampled it and I really, really enjoyed it, and I'm ranking it here at number 13 for now. It's lavender, tonka, cardamom, black pepper, incense, patchouli, but a really wonderful collection with a lot of vanilla, which I forgot to mention as well. It has some sweetness, it has the aromatic touches, of course the nutty, kind of bitter tobacco-ish nuances of the tonka, and then of course some smoky touches in here. Maybe it acts a bit like Leighton, but for sure it's a really great release for a designer, and also very, very long lasting because it's an elixir. So it's Invictus Victory Elixir. Let me know if you're familiar with that one. And this next one is Spice Bomb Extreme. Still haven't exchanged my bottle. It doesn't spray, but I contacted FragranceNet. They are sending me a new bottle. I'm gonna have to put this in and send this one back because the sprayer doesn't work, but still it works. It sprays, but it sprays really bad. But what I'm smelling on skin is super fantastic, and I can't believe I waited so long to buy this one. And I should have bought it earlier because it has cumin. I love cumin in fragrances. If you like the idea of Spice Bomb and you like the addition of cumin, you must get your nose on the extreme, especially if you are someone that wears designer fragrances. But it's vanilla, tobacco, cinnamon, cumin, bourbon, whiskey, saffron. Really wonderful, more extreme, intense take on the original, which I like this one a lot more than the original now. For me, the original has become a bit boring, but this one has that excitement in it again for me, even though it's the same DNA in the end. So it's Spice Bomb Extreme from the house of Victor and Rolf. Next, going to the house of Ralph Lauren, it's Polo Oud. Let me know if you're familiar with this one. I recently discovered this in Dubai Airport Duty Free. I've been wanting to get my nose on it. No stores around me carried it. so it took me a year. But oh my god, it's a really great take on Polo with a light hint of the original DNA in here, but mostly a new fragrance with oud wood, incense, rose, cinnamon, orange flower, pink pepper, clary sage, gaiac wood, patchouli, and vetiver. It's just taking the Polo DNA into a brand new direction. It's a Western style oud, so don't think this is that animalic Middle Eastern style oud that has a lot of, animalic smells to it. It's a very wearable oud with some slight funk. And of course, a very light DNA of the original Polo, but a very modern take on it. It's Polo oud from the house of Ralph Lauren at number 11, but at number 10, going to the house of Costume National, it's Homme Parfum. So Homme Parfum is basically a parfum edition of the original In Eau de Parfum, created by Dominique Ropian. It's a fantastic fragrance. I absolutely love this DNA. It's warm, spicy, lots of spices here. For me, I get a bit of an amber effect in here, which is probably coming in from the labdanum. But more than the amber effect, which is definitely credited, I get a tea effect and also dried fruits. So I feel like there's a fruitiness in here, mixed and blended with the amber, and then also a tea effect, which is really calming and cozy. But in the end, it's cinnamon, labdanum, amber, sandalwood, cardamom, grapefruit, patchouli, vetiver. Really cozy, really ambery, delicious fragrance for men, but a much more potent variety in the Parfum edition compared to the Eau de Parfum, which has been around for a decade at least, I believe. So this is Costume National Homme Parfum at number 10. So up next at number 9, going to the house of Caron, it's Pour un Homme de Caron Parfum. Yeah, there aren't a lot of parfums here because I do enjoy them much more than the originals, and sometimes the originals are reformulated to death. Like this one has been around since 1937. The original, not this version, which came out last year. And even though it smells great today, I much prefer this more concentrated take on the fragrance. It's a bit of an old school amber fougere style fragrance with an overdose of lavender and lavandin. There's also Turkish rose here. There's vanilla, musk, opopanax, and styrax. Really ambery take on the original. If you like lavender, vanilla, a little hint of rose, musk in there, you're going to love this fragrance. It's super fantastic. So that's Pour un Homme de Caron Parfum. Let me know if you're familiar with that. That is at number 9. But at number 8, going to the house of To Me, it's Continuum. Still a favorite fragrance of mine. I really, really love this. It's a great designer fragrance. It has tobacco leaves, suede, musk, amber, incense, orris, cistus, oud, mandarin. For me, I get a boozy, fizzy effect happening here, and I like that about it. It's a bit gourmandesque, but also very powdery. It's super delicious. It's a great designer fragrance that's done perfectly. The tobacco and the boozy effect and the fizzy effect really make it a very exciting and a pleasure to wear, and I like that about it. And it's perfect for autumn winter wear as well. So Continuum at number 8. Let me know if you're familiar with that. But moving on to the house of Cartier, it's Pacha de Cartier. This one right here, a brand spanking new bottle. I've used up the other bottle. If you like the Pacha DNA that came out like in the early 90s, like it's 90 or 91 that the first one launched, and you want something more modern, definitely get your nose on this one if you haven't yet. It's a lot of tonka beans here with sandalwood and an overdose of liquor for a boozy effect, but it also has balsam fir, benzoin, ambercinide, patchouli, and labdanum for amber, earthy, a little classic touches, but very modern take on that kind of old school 80s. It's an 80s style, but it came out like in the very early 90s. It's a really, really great fragrance. The original is fantastic. Absolutely love it. But a more modern take on it is the Parfum edition, which is really super amazing, especially since they gave it a lot of amber and then a lot of booziness in there. So that's Pacha de Cartier Parfum from the house of Cartier. Then moving on to the house of Bentley. It's Bentley for Men Intense at number 6. One of my all-time favorite fragrances from designers for men. It smells super fantastic, and I love the dry down on this one. It dries down super sexy on me. It's almost a combination of two different fragrances from the niche world put into one designer fragrance, and you can find this for really inexpensive. Like you can get it for around $30, $40, $50 of this one, and it's a great designer fragrance. But it features incense, leather, benzoin, rum, black pepper, patchouli, woodsy notes, cinnamon, cedar, bay leaf. Oh man, it's so good. I've gone through so many bottles of this. It's a really great fragrance to have in a collection, because not only does it smell great when you first spray it, from the booziness and spicy aromatic touches to the dry down with its earthy patchouli, amber, leather thing. Really a fantastic offering from Bentley, one of the best. I really love this one. It's Bentley for Men Intense from the house of Bentley. And that was at number 6. But moving on to the house of Tom Ford, once again at number 5, it's Noir Extreme Parfum. Boy, this is good. It's a beefy take on the original in Eau de Parfum, slightly gourmand and ambery, but sticky and spicy. There's the amber is very sticky on skin. It really wears like that. And also the concentration when it's sprayed on skin, it's kind of oily and sticky kind of, if that makes sense. But it's tonka bean, sandalwood, amber, cedar, gaiac, cardamom, ginger. For me, the cardamom and ginger is such an amazing thing here in this fragrance. Really love those two notes together. They take on a bit of a Indian or Middle Eastern kind of an effect in fragrances. I love these spices. They smell great, but with the overdose of the sandalwood here, the creaminess of that, and the amber and the tonka, really a great take on the original fragrance. It's a really delicious smelling fragrance. Noir Extreme Parfum from the house of Tom Ford at number 5. Then going to the house of Guerlain once again. It's Habit Rouge Parfum. Oh my god, this is really great. I almost put the Rouge Privé, but I don't think that's selling anymore. I left that fragrance off, but I love that one too. But the Parfum is super amazing. They've taken Habit Rouge into a slightly boozy gourmand direction. It's got rum, vanilla, and patchouli with that, you know, Habit Rouge DNA. It's super potent, really intense, long lasting, and again, it is a bit old school because the whole Habit Rouge DNA is old school. It's an older fragrance, but it's modernized here and beefed up. Really fantastic offering. Habit Rouge Parfum from the house of Guerlain deserves to be at number 4 because the next 3 are super amazing. This next one's from the house of BOIS, Hugo Boss. It's BOIS Bottled Absolute. My favorite of the latest 3 launches, the Elixir, the Triumph Elixir, and now the Absolute. I love this one, and I love the patchouli in this, the leather, the incense, the myrrh, the davana. Davana is a king here. I love this note. I've been really into this note lately, especially since the launch of 54, because we've featured that note in that fragrance. It adds a really great boozy, green, aromatic, spicy layer to fragrances, and you can totally notice it here. Not as much in 54, but a great fragrance from this house. I love it. It projects, long lasting, and again super sexy for a male designer fragrance. BOIS Bottled Absolute at number 3. At number 2, going to the house of Jean Paul Gaultier, it's Le Male Elixir. Yeah, this is good. It's really good, really long lasting, super potent, taking the Le Male DNA into an elevated, more modern direction with an overdose of tonka, mint, lavender, benzoin, vanilla. I love it. It's a delicious combination. Lots of aromatics, lots of ambery notes with vanilla, and it wears really perfectly on skin. It smells super great, and I think taking the DNA of Le Male into this kind of a direction was a great thing. They've just completely amplified the qualities, left everything that was good about the original, added some new things, and gave us a really great creation. So Le Male Elixir at number 2. And last but not least, guys, at number 1, it's Dior Homme Parfum 2020. Not the 2025. Not a fan of that one. I've been testing it out since I aired my video. Still, it's not working out for me. I guess I kind of like it a little more than initially, but definitely not the 2020 or the 2014. This is definitely the fragrance to wear this winter, not Dior Homme Parfum 2025. But if that's all you have, maybe that's what you wear. But this is a super sexy take on the original Dior Homme that launched, you know, years ago. This is Florentine iris, sandalwood, leather, ambrette, agarwood, cedar, rose, and orange in one super intoxicating, super smooth, very powdery, lipsticky, makeup kind of a leather fragrance. That is, I think I consider this a masterpiece. I don't know what they're thinking over at Dior. I think they're appealing to a lot more of the masses. They want sales, they want numbers. But sadly, this is gone and it's no more. I think there's still stock out there, guys. Get what you can find and compare it to the 2025 if you have it. You might like the 2025 more, but if you're at all into niche perfumery, you're going to enjoy this one because it's a super fantastic fragrance. My number 1 favorite fragrance next to all the niche fragrances. This is my favorite fragrance. And it's a disappointing time that it's discontinued. But I have a bottle, I'll wear it and enjoy it. It's Dior Homme Parfum 2020. And that's the list for you guys. What are your thoughts on these fragrances? Let me know, put a comment down below, and let me know what you're wearing this winter from the men's designer fragrances collection that you might have. Do you have the fragrances that I discussed here that you're wearing, or is there something else that you're wearing? Add a comment below so I can find out. But stay tuned for the niche video next weekend. In the meantime, if you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video, please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and also TikTok, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.